applause for our superstars. Beautiful. Well, amazing leaps like these could only come from a kind of dolphin. But here in British Columbia, there are actually a dozen different kinds of dolphins and porpoises, sometimes even more, that can be found right on our coast. As researchers, we need to look a little bit more closely at the characteristics of these animals that can help us to identify which species they are. So look closely at their beautiful bodies, and you'll notice that these dolphins are torpedo-shaped, with very dark backs, swirls of gray all across their bodies, and a very hooked dorsal fin on their backs. That makes them Pacific white-sided dolphins. Like their name suggests, they are found right here on the coast of British Columbia, as far north as Alaska, and as far south as California, even as far away as Japan's waters, all through the Pacific Ocean. We're really lucky to have them here because they are some of the world's most social and most acrobatic dolphins. But amazing sights like this splashy display from our females are also really interesting to researchers because Pacific white-sided dolphins are becoming more common here in the waters of BC's coast. You see, Pacific white-sided dolphins were once thought to spend all of their time far away in the open ocean, away from land, away from people, but we've been seeing more and more of them over the past 30 years. It's really interesting to our researchers to identify which individuals are coming into coastal waters more, so we've been using our cameras to take lots of photo catalogs in order to identify which dolphins are which. I want you all to get your cameras ready. As we get this spectacular display, see how many great photos you can get of our dolphins and use them to identify who is who. In the world of research, you're not always going to get an amazing full-body view like these ones. So often, scientists will have to use one characteristic of a dolphin to tell it apart from all others. That is the dorsal fin on their backs. Looking at the two females who are closest to me, Helen's is the one that's more curved and Hannah's is more triangular. Spinnaker, who's working with Christy a little further away, has more white on his dorsal fin than either of the two females. So keep that in mind as an easy trick to remember who's who, and if you do have questions after the program, I would be happy to point out which dolphin is which once more. Now that we know who is who here in this aquarium, though, I think we should probably think a little bit more in the big picture. What can it mean that Pacific white-sided dolphins are coming into BC coastal waters? Well, one thing that it means is obviously that they're going to have to eat. And in each of the mouths of our dolphins, there are between 80 and 120 sharp teeth. However, as you've seen when we've introduced a little bit of food to them, they don't seem to be doing very much chewing with those teeth. Does that mean Pacific white-sided dolphins can only swallow their food whole? What do you think, folks? No, I don't think the dolphins think so. In fact, they're not really answering my question, but by shaking their heads back and forth, they are demonstrating what they would do with a really big fish like an adult salmon, tearing them apart in their mouths with this vigorous shaking. Sometimes, however, dolphins do end up on the other side of the food chain, and it could be that by coming into the coast of British Columbia, they are introducing themselves to some larger predators. Fortunately, Pacific white-sided dolphins have a bit of an automatic defense built into their color to protect them from larger animals. The dark back, pale belly pattern is known as counter shading. You can find it on lots of different animals here at the aquarium. By having a dark back, Pacific white-sided dolphins will blend in what's going on underneath the surface to any animals that are swimming above. As the females are showing off those white bellies, you can imagine they would blend in really nicely with the sky on a bright day like today. A couple of predators are tricky enough to spot Pacific white-sided dolphins despite this illusion, however, and one of them is their cousin, the orca, or killer whale, the world's largest dolphin species. Although those animals have a mouthful of sharp teeth, as Spinnaker is demonstrating for us, Pacific white-sided dolphins can be extremely speedy swimmers. Their acrobatic skills can also be extremely useful for getting away from these larger but slower animals, because moving through air takes a whole lot less energy than moving through water does. If another predator, like a